It was a dream that occurred as far away as Damascus, Syria, and eventually came to realization right here at the corner of the Maisonneuve Boulevard West and Drummond Street in downtown Montreal. One man whose aspiration was to open up the most authentic French bistro this city would welcome. His name is Imad Nabwami, and this is the story of Le Pois Penché. Imad Nabwami is a pillar in the business community in and around Montreal. He has partnered with numerous industry leaders and businesses in various capacities for almost 20 years. His life has encompassed every possible aspect of hospitality. He is married and is the father of 3 beautiful daughters. He is a marathon runner, a passionate golfer, tennis player, and ardent collector of culinary books. But it's his passion for the celebration of food that sets him apart.
My first European vacation with the family was Paris. So I was very young, not knowing what I'm gonna do in life, and I arrived to Paris. And the first thing hit me in Paris, those French brasseries. So I go to the streets, and the smell of the croissant, the coffee, walking in the streets and seeing people are chucking oysters and all those terraces and all that great restaurant scene on the streets. That's what changed my life, I would say.
How old were you then?
I was 17 years old. My father is a lawyer, and he wanted me to be a lawyer. So after that trip, and after that effect of the streets of Paris, and seeing a complete different culture from the Mediterranean where I grew up, I came back to my father and said, I want to be in the restaurant business.
In the culinary business.
In the restaurant
so
business.
Then you pursued an education in hotel management?
Well, before this, my father didn't like it. Didn't like me to be in the restaurant business. But I was determined after that trip, which, as I told you, changed my life. I was determined to go in this direction. So he gave me one advice. He said, first of all, if you want to do it well and get the proper education.
Right.
So he decided to send me to a culinary school. I started in Damascus. Then I went to Europe to pursue my education. And Paris and France became part of my routine, my professional life, and that's how it started.
So as a little boy, were you in the kitchen watching your mom cook, your grandmother cook? I mean, where did this love for food originate from?
I grew up in Middle Mediterranean family where my mother cooks, and she raised we were 7 kids. So we were a family of 7.
It's a big family.
So the cooking was a daily thing in our lives. So coming back from school every day, you arrive to the house, and there's home cooking every single day. So my mother being in the kitchen and cooking for us on every single day created an effect on my life.
So you developed flavor as a young boy?
I developed lots of flavors, and Middle Eastern cuisine is very, very rich.
Right.
And when I went to the culinary school, I started learning different technique. I started learning the French technique, the French cooking. And believe it or not, I will go back to my mother and we'll try a change of recipe. So that was probably the first kitchen infusing where it came to my life. So I tell my Mom, what do you think if we do this? I learned this recipe.
So you were teaching your mom?
Not really. I was giving her ideas, and she would come up with different recipes as well. Yeah. And that's created curiosity and interest for me all the time.
So then onwards, you moved to France, where you began working in restaurants there. You fell in love in France, I would understand.
Well, I'm back to Damascus and met with my wife. And my wife, she's from Syrian descendant, but she's from Montreal.
Right.
Met in Damascus.
So there's a nice Montreal angle to this love story.
Montreal angle is all the time there. So I fell in love with my wife, and we decided to move to Montreal. And Montreal, being a French city, also attracted me. So the choice was perfect. The love and the city. So both things made me take that decision, that important decision.
And it was to open up a French-style bistro here in Montreal with a gentleman as yourself with a Syrian background. What was that like? What was the reaction to your dream initially?
First of all, when I moved to Montreal, I joined a big restaurant group in Montreal, and I was able to be managing an important group of restaurants in Montreal over the years. But all the time, even in Montreal, when arriving to Montreal, also seeing those bistros, those beautiful places that Montreal is really famous for its restaurant scene, I had in my mind, I want to own my own place. I want to apply all what I learned, everything I acquired in my life, everything I believed in, and I want my dream to realize.